Today is May 30th, 2022. It is Monday, and today I'm going to do a responsive grid. Yep, that's a plan. So basically, I'll start off with my HTML tags. I'll start off with my body tags, and so everything in the body is what's going to be showing up on the screen. I'll start with making a container where everything will be inside. So I'll give it a class called container so that when we use our CSS, which is our cascading styling sheets, which we use to style our HTML, we can simply target it by using the class. And then inside, well, just to show you what it looks like, if I go here to container, because we target classes by using a dot, and then we say the class name, and then we use curly brackets, and inside we can state the properties and the values that we want for CSS. So for example, I want a border. I want to give a property border, and the values I'm going to give it, it's going to be 5 pixels, a black border, and then I want it to be a solid border rather than something like dotted. Oops. Something like that, right? So I want it solid, and you can see right now that it has no height, so we have to set it with a height. So I'll do 100 VH, which is the vertical height of the screen. And then that's that, and then I'll go back into the container, and so in the container I want cards. So I'm going to give this a class of card, and what I'll do is I will just copy. Actually, you know what I want to do? I'll do something more today. So I'll add, let's say, maybe like, I don't know, maybe explore. So I'll do that. And, yeah. So that, the plan is that I'm going to do a card, and then when I hover over it, it's going to like overlay the image, and then we'll see the H1 when we hover over it. How many did I do? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need one more. 6. Okay, so now to give you a perspective of what the cards look like, I'll give it a border as well of 5 pixels, black solid, so the pixels control the thickness of the border. So those are what the cards look like, and so in order to get it into a grid, you have to go to the container and give it a display of grid. So everything in the container will have a display of grid, and I'll do grid template columns to set up how many columns I want, and I want to have, let's say, 3 columns and 1 FR. So what it's saying is that it's going to split the container into 3 equally spaced columns. Another way you could do this is by literally saying 1 FR, 1 FR, and 1 FR, and I'll do the same thing. But for consistent purposes, I use repeat. And then to get some space between the cards, we can do grid gap 1em. It's just another sizing unit. And then what I'll do is for the card, in order to center that explore, I'll give the card a display of flex. And flex allows you to basically center things very nicely. So I'll do justify content center, and what that does is justifies your content horizontally, and then align items center justifies your content vertically. There we go. So now it's in the center, and what I'll do now, I'll give each card a background. Let's say I want to give it an image, so let me go to Unsplash. Let me do something like maybe education or like law. Let's do education. I'm not liking it. Okay, let's look at something else. Let's look at some collections. Education. Oh, well, never mind. Actually, no, I don't want libraries. Can I just go back to the homepage? Okay. Oh, this is really pretty. Very aesthetic. Maybe we can use this. I'll right click, copy image address, and then just paste it in here. And you won't see it showing up nicely. So in order to fix that, we'll do background size and set it to cover so that it covers the entire card. And then I think we can leave it at that. And then what I'll do is for the card itself, I'll remove the border because now we can kind of see the actual cards. And instead of a border, I'll do a border radius so that the cards are like a little round. So I'll do like maybe 10 pixels. So you can see now that it's a little rounded. And then when I hover over the card, I want the card to move 2 pixels to the top when I hover over it. So you can see now it moves 2 pixels to the top. And let's say, so you can actually see what it looks like. This is it set to -20, but I like to do something slight. So -2 pixels like that. And then I also, when I hover over the card, I want the H1 to appear. So I'm going to do visibility, visible, hopefully I spelled that right. But in order, it's already visible, so I'll have to do H1, that's how you select an element. When there's more things, obviously you're going to have to use IDs in classes, but because I only have literally one type of H1, I'll just do H1. So I'll set the visibility to hidden so that it hides it, but then when I hover over the card, like I said, the visibility becomes visible. And not only do I want that to happen, but I also want the background to change. So what I'll do is, not to change the background image, but just to have like an overlay, like it gets darker. So I'll just copy the background, and over here I'll add a linear gradient. And I'll do that by doing RGBA, and I'll do like 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, and then 0.77, and then I'll copy that once more, separated by a comma. Whoops, I meant to have this over the card over here. There we go. And the only thing left to do is to change the color to white. Right? So now we have something like this, which I think is pretty cool. Now, if we save this, I'll actually go maybe make it a little bit prettier. So the container itself, I wanted it to have a padding of 50 pixels and then have let's say a background of a certain color. I think it was D3, or maybe, no, that was the actual background color for I think this one's just EE. Yeah. And the body, I want there to have, the body, because it's an element, so I'll do a background of, I guess I already had it there, of that. So now you can see the difference, and I'll just get rid of the border of the container, save that, and then I'll also give the container some margin so that there's some space. I'll do maybe a margin of 20 pixels. Save that so that you can see a little bit. So let me go ahead and go to debug mode so we can actually see what it looks like. So it's looking like this, right? Okay, and then let's see, what can we do also? I was gonna do something else and I forgot. Oh, the media query. So if you shrink it, it's not responsive. Like obviously the images are not responsive, and so we want to make sure that they are. So we'll go all the way to the bottom, and I'll do @media, so we can make it responsive by using this thing called @media. And then we say, okay, max width. So when the max width, like when the width hits, like let's say 800 pixels, then I want the container to change the amount of columns that it has. So grid template columns, so let's say 1FR, 1FR, so that would be repeat 2 comma 1FR. So that you see if I do that, if I shrink it over here, you'll see that from here to here, it changes into 2 columns, right? And then I'll do the same, I'll copy this and I'll say maybe 600 and then change it to maybe 1 column. So save that and then reload this, and then you can see that it's changing. Now here's another problem. When you change it, the height changes, because we never set a height for the cards, and so in order to fix that, I'll go back to the card and I'll give it a height maybe of, that's probably too short. Let me see. Yeah. I usually give it something like that, but I don't want it to be too big. Okay, but here's the thing. When you change the height, you obviously see that it's overflowing from the container now. And so in order to fix that, you can go back to the container and just change the height to min content so that the height of the container is the height of its content, like the minimum height that it can be in order to fit the content that it has inside, as you can see. And yeah, I think that's it. I think it looks pretty good. Let me see. Yeah, pretty good. So that's responsive. And it's really cute. I like it. Okay, anyway, that's that for today. Bye.